It's Monday, you know what that means. We're here on the Popcorn Talk Network for another episode of I Could Never Be, helping inspire you, helping motivate you, helping you achieve your dreams one episode at a time, talking with people that you feel have achieved success in the world, actors, athletes, musicians, people in business, people who we think they've had an easy path, that, oh man, they got to where they are. It only took like a couple days. That's not the case. They took years, took many years. They struggled, they hit obstacles, but they overcame them, and we're sharing their stories right here. We are live here every single Monday on the Popcorn Talk at 4:10 with a new episode. We're also available on Apple Podcasts, and I want to shout out some people who have rated us and commented on Apple Podcasts. Becky says, quote, incredible concept and content. Everyone can be inspired and challenged to hope for greatness. GRHY says, keep them coming. Always helps inspire me and keeps me going, chasing after my dreams. If you guys feel the same way, like, comment, subscribe, rate, tell a friend. Always want to share that positivity. Speaking of positivity, I always start the show with some advice for a better life. And today, my advice for a better life is that you're rarely ready for success right away, but you are ready to begin the journey to success. And what that means is that if you think about it, you're not ready to, if you want to run a business, you're not ready to run a multi-million-dollar business right away. From day one, if you're put in that spot, you likely won't succeed. But you are ready to start your first sale. You are ready to go out and be able to make a sale and be able to grow that business. If you want to become an actor, you're not ready to be placed as the lead in a multi-million-dollar production right away. But you are able to take that acting class. You are able to start in the play. You are able to start on whatever journey it is, and that journey will lead you to success. And I think today's guest certainly is the perfect embodiment of this. He actually started selling socks in college on a table outside of a building. He then sold socks out of his backpack. Sold 20,000 socks out of his backpack. That company, Feet Socks, has significantly grown. He now sells multiple millions of dollars of apparel every single year. His founder was named to Forbes 30 under 30 list. He joins us now. Taylor Offer, thank you for joining us today.
Thanks for having me. Excited to be here.
I mean, when you introduce yourself, do you introduce yourself as, hi, I'm Taylor, I sell millions of dollars of socks and hoodies online every year?
No, I'm sure people would not like me if I introduced myself as that.
How much into the conversation does it get where you're like, oh, I'm an entrepreneur, I'm a business owner. Oh, what do you do? I sell socks and hoodies. Like, how far into the conversation do you let that go?
Yeah, so and when I first started the company, that's all I would talk about within 5 seconds. Here's what I do, blah, blah, blah. And just really shove it down people's throat all the time. Like, look at my company, this. And then as I've kind of grown and matured, I kind of allude to it and don't really talk about it as much. Because then all of a sudden they're like, oh, you're a millionaire. It's like, no, I'm not. Like, yeah. Oh, you're this, blah, blah, blah. And it's just like, I don't know. I try to not talk about it too much.
Yeah, because in general, it's the business, you know, and no matter what business it is, it takes running a business. And running a business is not as easy. It's just like, oh, yeah, let me just hit a few buttons on the computer and I got several employees going to work and doing this. Like, no, it's still a day-to-day grind.
Kind of. Not as much as day-to-day grind anymore once we figured it out. So yeah, at first it was a grind. We had no idea what the hell we were doing. As we've been able to grow, we've learned how to automate and outsource a lot of different things, and it's made our lives a lot easier.
Certainly. If you guys want to follow Taylor, by the way, after the show, at Taylor Offer on Instagram or at Taylor Parker, both accounts, and certainly want to check out Feet Socks as well on their website and be able to check them out on Instagram. Thankful again to be here on the Popcorn Talk, at the Popcorn Talk on Instagram and on Twitter, and at the Only MC on Instagram and on Twitter for myself. Also, shout out to people who are joining us in the live chat. If you have a question, put it in there. I'll try to work it into the show. We're live again here every single Monday. We like to incorporate everyone here and be able to have you feel like you're part of the show, because you are. I love the story of how Feet Socks began. Yeah. Is that literally you were at college, and I think the trend was like, hey, maybe socks are kind of popping off as something to be a fashion statement. Tell me kind of how you took it from, oh, this could be a cool concept, to actually creating this brand and at college.
Yeah, so, I mean, it was the first day of senior year. It was an entrepreneurship class. And I thought I was killing it because I had this other custom t-shirt company where I was making 20 grand a semester. And this kid, Parker, comes over to me, who's way more humble. And I was talking a little bit, then he goes, I've sold over $1 million of lacrosse uniforms. And I was like, dude, who the hell are you? Why are you still in college? Like, what? then he would say everyone with their lacrosse uniforms wanted custom socks to match. And I was like, oh, yo, this is so cool. Let's go sell on campus. And we had no idea what we were doing. We didn't know if we get in trouble for selling on campus. We're like, shit, let's just go. Why not? And then using that same strategy, like selling outside of the dining hall, selling around campus, we sold 20,000 pairs our senior year and like created this really cool brand around it.
What was the reaction from people when you set up a table outside the dining hall and people would walk by? And what was your pitch to them at that point?
I mean, we just harassed people. Like, we did not let them walk in or out without, if they didn't buy, they'd have to give us the names of 3 friends who would buy and give us their number so we can call them or follow us on Instagram. And we just like bothered people. And they're like, dude, I just want to get a sandwich. Get out of my way. And I'm like, no. You need a $10 pair of socks. Oh, you're not going on the way in? And they'd always say like, okay, let me get lunch and I'll think about it on the way out. Like thinking I'll forget about them. But the exit and the entrance were the same. So like, hey, you said you're coming back after you eat. You're back. Come here. I'm not letting you go. And just, just hustle as much as possible.
Do you remember the first day? I mean, do you remember, like, I guess there's always that excitement around starting something. Do you remember the first day?
So well. So it was the entrepreneurship class that day. That was the first day I ever met Parker, the first day of senior year. And I was like, dude, let's go sell these on campus tomorrow. And he was like, no, we can't sell them on campus. I was like, yeah, we can. So that same day, we drove to TJ Maxx and Ross, I think, or TJ Maxx, and bought every single blank white Nike sock, Adidas sock, Reebok sock we could. And we spent all night. We had this little heat press, and we had pressed designs on them. And we made 200 pairs of socks that night. The very next day, we hit campus with a little folding table. And I remember so well because Parker dropped me off with 1 box of socks and a folding table. And he went to go find parking. And by the time he came back, I had like $250 cash in my hand. And he was like, oh, no, you're messing with me. Like, you had that cash. And I was like, dude, I've sold 25 pairs of socks at $10 a pair. And he's like, no, you're messing with me. But then that day, we went on to sell $2,000 of socks. And we're like, whoa, if we could sell $10 socks to college kids who are going to get lunch and have no money, we could sell socks. And that was like the most motivating thing ever.
Had you sold, I mean, you're talking about your business experience before that. What was your business experience, obviously, in college and selling stuff? How did you get into sales? Was that always hey, this is something I'm good at?
I mean, it started out of necessity. So like I was a big Clippers fan growing up, Los Angeles Clippers, the basketball team. And I'd go outside Staples Center and I didn't have money to go to the game. So I would just scalp tickets, and I'd start with the $5 nosebleed tickets. And by the time the game started, I get there at 6:30. The games start at 7:30. So I had an hour to try to scalp and keep making money. And by the time the tip off for the game, I'd almost always have like a seat near courtside or like down lower level just by flipping tickets all day. So that's how I started when I was 16. Then I started a couple other companies selling shit, like joined a fraternity in college and was sold all the t-shirts for all the fraternities and sororities, not only in my school, but around the country pretty much. So always had a knack for just buying and selling shit.
At 16, you're outside Staples Center upgrading tickets?
Yeah, and it was good because I was like this like innocent little kid. So like, I mean, there's a lot of issues with scalpers, and a lot of times like they come off pretty sketchy. So like no one wants to deal with them with fake tickets or whatever. But like I'm this nice little kid who is super innocent. So like I did pretty well with the clientele there.
I'm sure you use that to your advantage too, of like, I'm just a kid. I'm just trying to just get a couple bucks.
Exactly. And like, and there are times even where people would buy tickets from me. They weren't even going to the game, but they would just buy tickets to support me. Nice job, kid. It's like when you get lemonade from a lemonade stand, you don't even drink it. It's
man.
People just wanted to support me.
People are already feeling bad for the Clippers probably at that point because they weren't probably as great, and now they're feeling bad for you. It's a double like emotion.
It was a double whammy. They're like, damn, this kid, like, so sad for him and so sad for him. He's a Clipper fan. Like, that's horrible too. Let's just give him money.
At what point did you realize was it that day one when you had sold $2,000, you were like, this is something. Like, this really is something.
Yeah, because the point when I realized it was when my friends actually asked to start buying socks. Because I'm the kind of guy, like, I've had concepts and started, like, 5-10 different companies. And when your closest friends, like, usually they're not supporting you. They're shitting on you and, like, making fun of you.
Or asking for free things
you're trying to do. So when my friends were like, yo, can I actually buy some socks? I was like, whoa, this is actually cool. My friends that usually make fun of me are actually wanting to support me. This is definitely something.
How did you balance school and work then that senior year? Because I'm sure once something starts to become successful, that's where you want to put your mind in. But then to finish school, Where do you go?
Yeah, so actually that's a great, you want to hop in this? Parker just joined here. This is my co-founder. Balancing school, we're talking about how we balance school and try not to laugh. But we have this program at our school where you can build your own major. So I was in the business school and I was studying finance, and I actually dropped out of the business school my senior year to this program where you can build their own major. And I forget what my title was, but pretty much we did independent studies, and Parker was the person signing off on my hours and I was the person signing off on his hours. So senior year, we pretty much didn't take any classes and we were each other's teachers.
Wow. And now, just so everyone knows who's watching, Parker, you said, is the co-founder, and he's, I mean, you guys have started from the bottom. Now you're here.
Yeah, exactly. So he was the guy that made millions of dollars selling lacrosse uniforms in college and had the idea for the socks. And the guy I met senior year when I was telling that story.
Is that how you referred to me, as the guy?
I think I said the dude.
I think you said that dude.
Wow.
It's not a bad thing. You guys are both on Forbes 30 under 30. So, you know, you're doing something right. Was there ever the thought of, like, wow, we're growing really fast? Are we growing too fast?
I mean, we raised some money, and we graduated college. A couple days after that, we raised $250K, and we were like, holy shit, like, we have money and we're gonna go take on the world. Started growing pretty fast, and then we raised $1 million a year later. At a $10 million valuation, and we were just like, oh shit, like, our valuation just 10x in a year, and now we have to go hire people and start a real company. So, like, I mean, I feel like always feel like you're going too fast. If you don't feel like that, you feel stagnant.
Were you learning from people? How did you know about the valuations of the company and being able to raise money?
We had no idea. When we started, we had no idea. Some friends were talking about raising money, and then we kind of just looked into it. An advisor said, hey, I might know a guy, and we just, before we knew it, found ourselves raising money. It wasn't really like a planned out. It wasn't like a big plan or anything.
And we had no idea about anything when we started. And just along the way, you find someone who raised money really well, and you reach out to them, say, hey, I'm raising money. Can you teach me? And they teach you everything you know. You find someone who knows social media stuff really well. You ask them. You find someone who knows e-commerce really well. So we just found experts and reached out to them and got them to like us and got them to teach us what they know and mentor us.
It seems like, you know, it's been certainly a learning experience just all along. Every day you're almost trying to pick up something new, because that's the industry, I think.
For sure. I mean, we don't, to this day, it's like we wake up in the morning and it's something new that we're tackling, something new that we're going after. Nothing's figured out. As soon as we catch up to something, it just changes.
And even like today, I came over here, I thought we were gonna do like a quiet work day, and I get here and within 15 minutes, Parker's like, we're going to Long Beach. And I'm like, which is an hour away. And I was like, oh, I just sat down. He's like, yeah, we're doing some manufacturing there. We're going to Long Beach. And then then we're like, okay, we have to hustle back from Long Beach. I'm telling him, okay, we got to get back because we're doing this thing at 4. So it's like every day it's just like different things popping up.
Wouldn't have it any other way, though, would you?
No, it's fun. It's exciting. We hate routine.
Your business now is all e-commerce and online. Certainly on the FeetSocks website, www.feetsocks.com. Want everyone to be able to go there and check it out, and hoodies and socks. What do you guys know about e-commerce? Does anyone know, everything about e-commerce, or is that, again, just the industry of you're picking things new every day of how people are reacting to posts, how people are using social media?
We're the only people in the world who know e-commerce. We think. No, I mean, e-commerce, it's always being on your toes and coming out with the next thing. When Facebook changes their algorithm, when something changes, you have to be the first on the know with the social and the digital world. But we're lucky to surround ourselves with like some of the smartest and coolest people in the e-commerce world. And so we kind of always have our finger on the pulse of what's going on, and that's the most important thing in this world.
Why e-commerce? Because you say you started selling them literally just with people face to face outside of a dining room. At what point did you think, hey, let's do e-commerce versus let's try to continue selling in person?
Yeah, I mean, we tried everything. So at first, we were super set on retail, and we built out a whole sales team of like 7 people. We got into 500 retail stores, and we were like very, very, very heavy on retail. That's all we sold. That's all we focused on. And then, I mean, we could talk about that. Like, yeah, it was a pain. Like, you'd sell into this account and they'd order $300 of
Well,
socks.
you begged to sell in, you finally convinced them, then they'd sell the socks, and then you called them, they couldn't pay you. And it was just like, holy cow, like the amount of people and infrastructure you need to be able to support such small accounts just didn't make sense. And then we met the guys at Movement.
No, before that, then we're like, oh shit, how can we sell socks? We went all in on selling through social media people. So we sold through Allie Raisman. We made a line with her. She sold $500,000 of socks. Logan Paul, we worked with him. He sold like $500,000 of socks. And then we started seeing diminishing returns there. And then as we're seeing that, we were like, shit, how else can we sell socks?
Like we need something more sustainable, scalable, something that like just you need some sort of patterns, and there's no patterns in influencer and selling through influencers. And then retail was just the juice wasn't worth the squeeze. Mm-hmm. So then we got really close with the guys at Movement Watches, and they kind of opened up our eyes to e-commerce and showed us how scalable it could be.
I think we read one article, like this 26-year-old has a company that's doing $80 million a year. And we both just looked at each other like, what the fuck?
We got to know this guy.
Yeah, let's find this guy and let's talk to him. So we sent him a cold email. We're like, Jake, we need to talk to you. And he's been so cool and such a good mentor.
And that's the guy from Movement?
Yes, they're CEO.
Yeah, Movement, I think, was just valued at, man, they were, I forget what the number was. I read the other day, it talked about, man, it was at least tens of millions of dollars, I think.
They just got acquired for $100 million.
That's what it was. Yeah, they just got acquired for $100 million. With them, I mean, was it just constantly a growing partnership or relationship? I mean, not a business partnership? Are you trying to just ask him questions and be able to pick his mind?
I mean, kind of, but that's no fun. So
yeah.
With everyone we're in any sort of partnership or relationship or mentorship with, like, we try to just be friends with. Mm-hmm. That's where you win. I mean, nobody wants a business connection in their network. Like,
yeah.
That's
it's a two-way street in terms of value. Like Jake gives us so much value, of course, but we try to help him in other ways. And you know, we all learn from each other's experiences. And you know, he was like, "Wait, what the heck? You guys drove 1.5 million unique visitors to your site in a day with no advertising. How the heck did you do that?" And you know, that was something that we could talk to him about. So yeah, I mean, we're just friends.
Talk about using influencers, because I think a lot of people see that on their Instagram and their Facebook and their Twitter, and they see influencers, people with large followings promoting things. Talk about how that has revolutionized e-commerce and sales, of using these people with big platforms to be able to help push your product and be able to partner with them.
Yeah, I mean, so we were really early on influencer marketing in 2015. And that's when we first worked with Allie Raisman, and we were just so bullish on it, and we really thought there was opportunity there. And that's when in 2015, that was before influencer marketing was a huge thing, and people didn't even know if they could sell or not.
And they weren't even really called influencers just that short ago. Like it wasn't such a common word.
And now the space is completely diluted and pretty valueless, but unless you find kind of the right people. So some people we learned, because we've done deals with, you know, people like Allie Raisman, Logan Paul, the Chainsmokers. So people from all over, celebrities, athletes, musicians. And there's a huge difference between following and selling power. And we kind of learned that the hard way, but we structured our deals so we can never really get too burned on them. But yeah, I mean, it's just a whole world. And now it's so diluted because everyone's on their Instagram saying like, I love Fit Tee, buy my Fit Tee. I love necklaces, buy my necklaces.
Teeth whitener?
T-shirt.
Teeth whitener, anyone? Yeah,
teeth whitener, exactly, all that. So, and I mean, it's funny today because like I get hit up almost every single day by people interested in like, oh, I'm gonna go pay this influencer $5,000 for a swipe up, or I'm super hyped about this. I'm like, don't do that. That's stupid. And they're like, what? Why? Look at their engagement. I'm like, that engagement, like they get 1/10 of that, and then they just go and buy that. They buy fake likes, they buy fake followers. None of that's real. You're gonna get no money back. And they're like, no, I really want to. I'm like, literally, you might as well just burn your money on fire.
Is that something that you guys learned the hard way once or twice? I mean, is it something you've been lucky with?
I mean, I set up all the deals to cover our asses. So pretty much with influencers, the crazy thing is like with influencers, we've never paid anyone an upfront. We've never.
Smart. We definitely thought about it though.
We thought we were going to pay this one Instagram kid with 20 million followers. He wanted $500,000 upfront guarantee. And luckily we backed out last minute because that deal would have fucking sucked. We would not got our money back. But Yeah, of every deal we've done, there've been back end profit splits, and the socks have been made to order. So
Nice.
we've never exposed ourselves to any risk with that.
What is the best way to be able to reach consumers now? Have you found?
Create something of value first. I think there's two types of companies you see being built. Companies that are being built and just forcing demand and it really doesn't add any value. There's a zillion people in the space with like something competitive. If you have something of true value that is like unique enough, and it's somewhat what's her name? Jen from Away just said if people aren't going to talk about it, then don't do it. And when she said that, I was like, wow, that's brilliant. It makes so much sense, right? Like, don't just sell another iPhone case that is no different than the next one. If it's truly of value, and then people talk about it, you're going to see the biggest growth that way.
Are you still doing online ads? Is there a certain way that you found works of doing the swipe ups, doing the promotions, doing sponsored posts?
Yeah, I think that's different for everyone. We definitely have our own techniques there, and it's something that I think is one of our biggest strong points. Is just like we understand how to communicate with people through ads in a more effective way than most. I think, and I think that's why we're still in business. But yeah, I mean, we definitely advertise on all social media. We're super creative and finding ways to sell socks and different things like that.
That's a must now, right? Advertising on social media for any business. You have to be connected, do you think?
No, I don't think so. I think every business is different, and it takes, everyone's goal. Like everyone doesn't have the same goal of build $100 million business, right? Like, and every business isn't necessarily suited to be $100 million business. So I think first, it's most important to be like, okay, what is the business? What is the true opportunity here? Be unbiased and not, don't be emotionally attached to it, and think about like, where can this business go? So, I mean, to say, oh, go on social media, I think for a lot of companies doesn't make any sense. Like my dad's company, it's a landscape company in Connecticut. Like they could post all day on social media. It's not really going to drive sales or move the needle. So every business is different.
And especially when it's not native, when it's forced. Like I think a lot of these companies that don't need to be on social media are like, oh, we need the millennials on social media, so we got to go do the social media and do the stories and go and put the tags on people. And it's just like, don't force it. If it's not natural, it just doesn't work.
Yeah.
One company I actually saw today was is the 70th anniversary of InNOut opening, and I actually noticed that they do not have a Twitter account, InNOut, and that like blew my mind. But what you're saying is correct. I mean, they're successful in other ways, and sometimes I think you could be forcing it.
Yeah. Or you could be like, I know Wendy's is really active on Twitter, and they're hilarious.
Yeah, Wendy's talk about, right?
And they're good at it.
Yep.
Good.
But it's like, own what you're good at. Don't force it just because Taco Bell's good at it or Wendy's is good at it doesn't mean InNOut should try to figure out how to, like InNOut. There's always a line. And Twitter's not gonna. I don't think Twitter's gonna make their line longer.
100%.
If only thing, it might hurt them by what they tweet. Like it's working. Don't try to fix it.
100%. And you guys both in 2017 were named to Forbes 30 under 30 in retail and e-commerce. First, congratulations. Again, I know that's a very prestigious thing to be a part of. What was that like, knowing that you were on that list?
Building up to it, we were so excited, and the day of, we were like, whoa, this is so cool. It was external validation from someone, because you kind of work with your head down for a couple of years, not knowing if you're doing well, not knowing how the world sees you, because you only see the debts, like the liabilities you own, and you only see the risk you're taking. You don't really see the outside world being like, congrats, you're doing a good job.
And you never stop and smell the roses when you're building something, because you're always you're like always chasing the horizon. So something like this to me is almost just like it's like being verified on Instagram, but in real life. It's kind of.
Because when you get to $1 million in sales, you're like, shit, why aren't we doing 10? That's what we thought. We get to 10, we're like, why aren't we doing 100? And like, we're never satisfied. So the Forbes 30 to 30 thing, that was great for what, a day?
2 days? No, I still think it's cool though. I still think it's cool because it just tells other people it's the blue check mark on your career.
We're verified.
It's that thing you can put at the bottom of an email or in a bio line.
Yeah,
for sure. And people respect you.
100%. Was that an opportunity for you guys? I know you went back this year to kind of speak at the 30 under 30 in 2018. Is that an opportunity for you guys to network and just feel inspired and motivated, talking with other people who are obviously, putting in the work?
I mean, it's such a good community of successful people that are helping successful people. And I think that's like, you're only in business and in life, you're only as good and as powerful as your network. So like, we're just keep growing our network with these amazing people that could open so many doors in so many different ways. So it's been amazing for us.
You talked about for 2 years, you just had your head down and you were grinding. I want to talk about those 2 years and like what that's like, the daily grind. Is that, I mean, literally, I know you guys are the founders of the company. People think, oh, you're the founders. Yeah, you're doing the stuff, and then other people are doing the work. Talk about those 2 years of you guys having to maybe travel to be able to look at items and to be able to help pack things and ship things out. And what was the day-to-day of those 2 years like?
I mean, everything from day one, it was like we had to print our own socks with our own 2 hands. We were printing freaking socks in a warehouse in Amherst, Massachusetts in 30-degree weather with no heat.
Yeah, we couldn't turn the heat on in our warehouse because it was too expensive. So we would literally wear these huge North Face jackets, beanies, and be printing these socks. You have to be very delicate with putting the paper right over the sock perfectly so it prints. You're doing it with gloves on in 30-degree weather.
And from that to selling at events to going to trade shows and we did everything. But I think my personal, and you probably agree, like our biggest takeaway over the past couple of years has been that this mentality of like work your life away to get to a light at the end of the tunnel is not sustainable, because you just burn out before you get to the end of the tunnel, and then you're just stuck there. And what we realized was like we were building such imbalanced lives, and it just doesn't work. And we kind of had to change our perspective to, instead of looking at a tunnel to get to the light at the end, it was like every day's in the light. Enjoy every day. Build a multi-dimensional life that is bigger than your work. We used to be so obsessed that we couldn't talk about anything but our work. And now when I hear people talk like that, it irritates me. I go, oh my gosh, you're so naive, and you don't understand that life is bigger than just the business that you build, and that your title and your business name and growth and revenues are not
they don't define you as a person.
They don't define you as a person. And I think like that's the most valuable realization that I personally had. I know you've had it too this year. Like this year we picked up like hobbies. We actually decided to have friends for the first time in 2 years.
Drink a beer for the first time in 2 years. We get so caught up on social media, especially and Gary Vee's the worst on this. It's like hustle, grind. If you're smiling or having fun, you're not working hard enough. If you even take a second to say hi to a friend, you're not working hard enough. You're gonna lose. It's like that sucks. Like,
yeah, I don't think there could be anything
Gary Vee
worse than that
sucks.
mentality.
Like, I don't want to be him. I don't want to be his age and like working all the time and hustling and grinding. Like, dude, I want to enjoy life.
What is the pressure like of, like you're saying, especially, you're among these people and we're all looking up to these people who are, inspirational and motivational and growing business, and like it almost seems like it's almost like you're trying to one up each other with how hard you're working. What is the pressure like of thinking like, oh, if I take a break, if I go to the bathroom and I'm there for more than 3 minutes, I'm wasting time?
Yeah, I think a big part of that mentality. Sorry, I think a big part of that mentality is first actually looking in the mirror and thinking about what you actually want. We used to always say we want to do $100 million. Then our investor would say why, and what we realized is we didn't even have a good why. There was no reason for it. Like we couldn't even say because we want to be rich, because that wasn't the motivation there. So it's like you have to stop and think about what you actually want. And comparison does no good. Like it just doesn't do anything. If your show here makes you a billionaire, it really doesn't change my life. I'm still waking up and doing the same thing tomorrow, right? It's amazing for you, but like to compare myself to that just really does no good. And then the other thing I think with comparison, like so many people fall for headlines and try to compare themselves directly to that and then replicate it. And it's like that you can never replicate someone else's success because you can't replicate the time and place. So as soon as you kind of just understand these things, or like, I don't know, I completely lost my train of thought, but.
Yeah, you realize that, it's the rat race is for rats, and don't be a rat.
Yeah,
exactly. That's perfect. We just laugh at the rats now. And like, if someone wants to be like, I'm working, I'm grinding, like, okay, that's cool, man.
Our friend Colin and Samir, they're like creators, and they said, I think they are a couple years older than us, and they said that they used to think there's nothing else I want to be doing but grinding and working. And I almost thought for myself and for someone and for the rest of the world that was cool. And they said, now I hate nothing more. They're like, I don't think that's cool. I don't even really respect that anymore, because what it tells me is you just don't understand life as a whole.
Like
you understand one dimension.
Yeah.
Anyone can understand one dimension of life. I think that's the easy part. But building an actual life.
You could die tomorrow. Like enjoy the shit you have now. Like I used to look at someone like chilling on the beach on a Tuesday, like, damn, this person's lazy. Or like someone sleeping in, it's like lazy. It's like, no, they're actually just enjoying life. Like, cool, good for them.
You guys, what I love about you guys and your brand and you guys individually is that you're so open and honest. You're so open and honest about your brand of like, you're so behind what you do and you know what you guys do and you know how freaking awesome it is and to be able to provide these amazing socks and comfortable hoodies and to be able to get them to people and to be able to make their lives better and their lives happier. But that you're also open and talking about, I guess, the struggles a little bit that you had and what the grind is like. And I know certainly you guys posted on Instagram about in February, you had to let some people go and Taylor had to move into his parents' basement and then Parker, you had to sleep on a friend's couch. At that point, I mean, was there ever thought of shutting the business down, or how did you guys keep each other motivated during that point?
I mean, we've kind of always talked about like the only time you lose is when you give up. Like the only way you lose a business is by quitting, or you either run out of cash or you stop working on it. And even if you run out of cash, there's ways
we ran out of cash. We were way upside down.
You got to figure it out.
We not only didn't have cash, we owed a lot of cash to other people.
The only way to win is don't stop. Like, don't let anything in any successful business. Like, why are they successful? Because it didn't stop. There's a million times you could have quit along the way. It's like, just don't stop and you're going to win. I mean, it's hard. I mean, you get punched in the face and you have to stand up and get punched in the face again. And then you stand up again, you get punched in the stomach. Then you stand up again, you get punched again. You're like, shit.
But eventually you just kind of get used to getting punched. It doesn't hurt as bad. Right? Like boxers get hit in the head. They can take it way more than you and I can. You know what I mean? It's the same thing.
Same thing in business. It's like, oh, cool.
Every day something like, now like we'll get an email. Oh, I'm going to sue you for this or that. And now it's like,
used to freak out, but it's like, that's a punch. That felt like a little jab. Like, cool.
This used to hurt. Doesn't hurt anymore.
What are friends and family saying? I mean, have they been encouraging? Have you kind of, had some doubters and you try to just block them out and you just want to surround yourself with positivity?
Yeah, I think we're both so lucky that we have such a good, solid core with our family and close friends who support us through the ups and downs and through everything. Like, I think that's one of the most important things that we even don't often attribute our success to enough. Like, having that core family supporting you is like huge, because there are so many haters. There are so many people telling you're idiots. There's so many people, like, I mean, even if it takes someone 2 weeks to get their socks and they start messaging on social media like, F you guys are scammers, you're a piece of shit.
It's the hardest thing about social media. Like, the best thing about it is it's so easy for people to give feedback. The worst thing about it is it's so easy for people to give feedback, right? Like, no one on social media goes, wow, I got my order exactly as expected. Thank you so much, right? We only hear from the ones that had the worst experience. It's a Yelp effect, right? You get 1 star or 5 stars and nothing in between.
And it's crazy because if you have 10,000 orders in a month and all you hear is like 20 complaints. You're like, you hear 20 complaints and you're like, damn, we suck. We have these people hating us. But then you look 20, that's like 0.002%.
Yeah, that means 9,980 people were happy.
Exactly. Right, and that's the hardest part is it's like, oh, like we take it so personally and people love to get angry at a company. And then we're like, look, a company, it's just us. Like, we are the company. You're yelling at us. We're people. We're not here to scam you. We're going to ship your stuff just like we did for the other 900 or 9,980,
But you only hear the bad and you only focus on the bad.
Yeah.
What does being an entrepreneur mean to you guys? When someone says, oh, I'm an entrepreneur, you say, to yourself, I'm an entrepreneur. What does that mean? Because that has such a high, appeal of like, oh, I'm an entrepreneur. What does that mean? What does it take to be an entrepreneur?
I think it's funny that even that you say it has a high appeal and high value, because like us as entrepreneurs, like, we know how much it sucks. Like, there's so much down and negative and like stress and stuff. And I think the people that like calling themselves entrepreneurs, it's like most aren't. You're just saying that because you don't really know what it's like. Because like, if you do know what it's like, you know how hard it is. Like, you wouldn't be showing it off. Like, there's a lot of people on social media who are just like spread a bunch of fake news about entrepreneurship and call themselves entrepreneurs. It's like, no, like, it's not rosy. It's not fun. You're not making money. Like, no one does. Like,
I think for me, it's about to me, being an entrepreneur just means like seeing opportunity where other people don't necessarily, and just blindly trusting your gut and saying, "Oh, I really do see an opportunity here." And people just kind of, someone said to us recently, like we could just rub two sticks together and create a fire with anything. And it's like, yes, like that to me is a true entrepreneur, where it's just like, I don't know, I gotta sell something in this garage because I need $100. Let me find it, and just figuring it out.
And just, I mean, yeah, entrepreneurs just solving every random problem on different days. So whether it's the label printer's broken and we can't ship, like now you're an expert on label printers. Or hey, we need some new designs and we need them in the next 2 hours. Hey, I'm the expert at Photoshop now and design. You become the expert at everything and you have no excuse. Like you just do whatever it takes.
What are the top lessons you guys have learned in the past 3 to 4 years of running and growing a business?
Oof.
My number one off the top of my head is just like, your business is not everything. Your business is not your identity. I can't harp on that enough. I don't think enough people talk about that. Everyone talks about your business is everything. Work hard. The reason you're failing is because you don't work hard enough. And nothing drives me more crazy because, we're both super motivated. We're both super motivated, but we also just want to enjoy it every single day. For a while, we kind of lost that spark day to day. So it's nice to have that mentality of, hey, our business is still going to grow and we're still going to build this as big and bad as we can, but we're going to enjoy every second of it.
Taylor, anything?
Wait, what was the question again?
What have you learned the past 3 to 4 years about yourself, about growing a business?
I think the biggest thing was like businesses exist to make money. So like always focus on your bottom line. A lot of times it's super easy to get caught up in the top line revenue and caught up in raising money and caught up in like, hiring people. And like with every business, I always tell them, like, is that necessary? Like, do you need to actually hire an employee, or is it something you can do on your own? Like, do you need snacks in the office, or can you get by without it? Do you need an office? Do you need that? And just kind of like breaking out every cost and like really thinking through like, okay, what is actually necessary? What if it was gone tomorrow, would put us out of business? Okay, that won't, then we don't need it.
I love that attitude. What is your guys' definition of success? We talk a lot about success, and to culture, the show, we're talking about helping people achieve success. It's a term with a wide definition, I think. What does it mean to you guys?
For me, success isn't anything monetary. It isn't anything in business. Success is just being happy, being able to sit in a chair right now and just be like, wow, like it's awesome. I'm happy. Life's good. Being able to, be waiting at the DMV for an hour with a smile on your face, like I'm alive. I'm inside, like things are good. Enjoying food, like enjoying life, like having the simplest things and just be happy for the longest period of time.
Parker?
Success to me is being able to wake up every day and do whatever it is that you want to. So for everyone that's different, right? Like if my desire was to like climb a corporate ladder, that should be awesome. And I should enjoy every second of it. Success to me is like when your every day is your dream day. It's kind of vague, but that's my definition. Like if I wake up tomorrow and I'm bored of what I'm doing, or I'm sad about what I'm doing, like I just want to be able to change it. And as long as I can keep doing that and just kind of following my own feelings and kind of echoing what Taylor said, like as long as I'm so happy every single day and learning and growing, that to me is already success.
I love that. I love both of your definitions. I truly do. Like, in a world where a lot of people see success and they're like, oh, what car are you driving? Oh, what house do you have? Oh, how many sales? How much money? Like, the true success of what you guys are saying is the day-to-day living, enjoyment of life. I think that's awesome.
Thank you.
What advice do you have for people who are maybe looking at starting something? They're saying, oh, I see this need in society, and I want to be able to tackle it. I want to be able to fill this need. There's a void here. And, maybe advice that you would give yourselves 3 years ago, when you're getting dropped off, Taylor, to sell socks. And Parker, you're parking the car, and it's like, all right, well, we're about to do this. What advice would you give yourselves from 3 or 4 years ago? What advice do you have for other people who are looking to start a business or have started it and wanting to grow the business?
I think first, if you can answer why you want to do all that, that's the ultimate win. If you can't answer why, then you shouldn't do it at all. because otherwise you're just in the motions. You're not like, it's like, what are you really doing? So almost like every day, ask yourself, why are you doing that? Why am I going to this corporate job? Why am I thinking about starting this company? Oh, I see a need. I'm thinking about a business, but why would you want to do that? And the answer is totally okay to be like, well, I want to get rich. Like that's a fine answer if that's what you want. It's just know your why on your way in, and then you'll more clearly know how you're going to get there, right?
Yeah, I agree with that completely. And I would say too, just start. So like a lot of people get so caught up in like, it's not perfect before launch. Like it doesn't matter. Like we started with our first pair of socks was a pair of Nike socks, and we couldn't figure out how to print the whole design down. So we could only print half the sock. So half the sock was white and half the sock had a print on it. It looked like shit. And that's where you start. And wherever you start isn't where you're going to end up. We started selling socks on Canvas. We didn't even know about e-commerce. The journey will take you there. It's never going to be perfect. Just start as soon as possible and fail and change and iterate. Just get going, get moving.
And that was today's advice for a better life. You're rarely ready for success right away. You're rarely ready to be able to star in that A-list film, to be able to run that multi-million-dollar company, to be able to go win the Grammy. You're rarely ready for that if you started tomorrow. But you can start tomorrow, and you can start on that journey, and that will lead you to the success. I mean, you guys are 3-4 years into it. Again, you're still learning things every day. You're still growing, right?
Every day. I mean, we think we have so much to learn and grow.
What does the future hold? What's the future goal? Why? What's the future why?
Ask Parker. He's been asking this every day for the past 2 weeks.
What's the future why? I kind of echoing the earlier answer. It's like the why is make sure that I love what I'm doing every single day. If you don't love doing something, stop doing it. So I don't know where I want to be in 5 years necessarily. I just want to make sure that I'm still genuinely happy every single day with what I'm doing, with who I'm surrounding myself with. I want to continue to learn and grow. I always want to be able to like almost laugh at myself last month or last year. As long as I'm doing that, I feel like I'm progressing, and I think there's so much to still, like we just said, there's so much still to learn in business and in life that as long as we're progressing, I'm pretty happy with that. So that's really just my goal for now.
Fantastic. Well, Taylor Offer, Parker Burr, thank you guys so much for joining us for this episode of I Could Never Be here on the Popcorn Talk. Again, everybody go to feetsocks.com. Check them out. They not only have socks, but the most comfortable hoodies, right, guys? Most comfortable hoodies
most comfortable
ever?
hoodies in the world.
Yep.
There you go. Go check them out. Go buy a pair. Go buy a hoodie. And after you get done with that, go like, comment, subscribe on this video. Go over and leave a review on our podcast on Apple iTunes. Again, thank you to Becky and GRHY for your very nice reviews. We'll give shout outs every single week. And we are here every single week on the Popcorn Talk Network. Every Monday, we're live here talking with musicians, actors, athletes, people in business, people who we deem as successful and think that their paths have been easy, but when you actually talk with them, you hear the struggles and hear how many times that they wanted to quit, but they kept going. And we share those stories to be able to inspire you, be able to help you appreciate their journeys, and to be able to build them up along the way. All about spreading positivity. So until next week, we'll see you next time.
From producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire Popcorn Talk Network, we would like to thank you for tuning in. For questions or comments, be sure to visit popcorntalk.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of the Popcorn Talk Network. The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of the Popcorn Talk Network or its owners or principals.